Welcome to the People's Voice DC. Listen, before we get started, I just want to address one thing, and I'm going to say it with a smile to our friends who like to ride scooters on our streets. Please be careful. You guys have almost hit me on a bike and walking at least 5 times. Please be careful. Make your money, get around, do whatever you need to do. Please start obeying traffic laws. Please start obeying traffic signs. Please be safe. We are tired of our streets being terrorized morning, noon, day, and night by scooters. With that being said, welcome to the People's Voice, DC. I'd like to bring on my good friends, my co-host, Shantae High, and former mayoral and city council candidate, Chris I. How are y'all?
Good. How you doing?
I just needed to, I'm okay. I just needed to get that off my chest. I
Why did you
have
say
been
that?
almost hit like every day
By a scooter?
by a scooter.
Now I know some people who've been on a scooter got hit by a car.
I do too, but I know situations where it's been car fault, and I know situations where scooters were doing too much and got hit by a car too.
No, me, I'm a safe rider because I ride motorcycles. I ride, all of the twos and the fours, and I was riding a 49cc scooter, and I was on Rock Creek Church Road when a lady who was texting and driving abruptly made a turn, hit me, and yeah, she caused some severe damage. I am still suffering pain from all of that today.
Hmm. I'm definitely sorry to hear that. And there are reckless, like I said, um, car drivers. I think we talked about this before. I think we definitely need to move towards making our streets more geared towards pedestrians than vehicles. But I know I anger a lot of constituents when I say that.
I gotta kind of agree with you on that because I feel like these traffic lights and the pedestrian lights, they coincide with each other, and they have pedestrians walking in front of cars when cars are trying to make turns, which ultimately backs up traffic because only a couple cars can get through the light. So my suggestion would be to allow the pedestrians 60 seconds to cross first. And then once those walk lights stop, turn those other lights green so that, you know, the traffic can move forward.
I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with I have to definitely, of course, really look at it and see how it works out. But on the surface, I don't have a problem with
Yeah, I feel like, at all of the intersections where pedestrians need to cross, you need to just hold traffic, give everybody 60 seconds to get across their intersection. You going that way, you going that way, everybody go. And then once their time is up, you put the stop hand, and you turn the traffic lights in whichever direction to go and move the traffic along, because honestly, You know, I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe um, crossing the intersection while the light is green.
Yeah, it's almost as if the pedestrians have to kind of fend off cars that want to turn. Now, what I kind of wonder, like, how does DC compare to other cities? Because we have, I mean, there's a lot of folks. I think unlike other cities, there's a lot of folks who want to come into the city every day and leave the
Well,
city every day. They want to come in and leave. Maryland wants to come in, Virginia wants to come in, and then they want to leave. And they're usually driving cars. They're usually fed up from the traffic jams, and they're anxious to get home or anxious to get to work. So they're already kind of primed and pumped to kind of press the gas and go. Um, and so, unlike sort of like, let's say, a place like Richmond, or even to an extent like maybe Baltimore, those are sort of cities onto themselves. They're like, you either live around them and you come in and you go. It's not like, I don't know. I feel like DC is just, Maryland and Virginia really needs to get in here a lot, and they're coming from, I mean, Frederick to get in here. They're coming from like Springfield or like Stafford to get into the city. And it's a heck of a commute, and I just wonder how that. Yeah, how do we make it safer for, yeah, pedestrians that are here, DC peeps, who have to kind of, who right now have to, I mean, I don't know how many times where I gotta like turn and stare at a driver so they stop,
mm-hmm.
cross through the crosswalk, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I agree with Mr. Thomas here. It's not that simple, but I was just putting a suggestion out there that I feel the city could try to do. And I just, as a pedestrian walking with a child, I oftentimes will put myself in the way of her based on the traffic of which, intersection we may have to cross. So that if somebody comes barreling through the intersection, because a lot of people do tend to run red lights up here, um, I would take the blunt of the injuries rather than her. So, and then most of the time, when I see the time running down on the clock, I would just release her hand and tell her, run, go. You know, I'm me personally, I used to walk faster than what I walk now. But after being hit by that car, I sustained a concussion that gave me double vision and vertigo. I broke my left scapula, my left humerus, my right, sorry, my left scapula, my left humerus, my right femur, six ribs, and both my lungs collapsed. So, I tend to be a little paranoid now. Crossing the street, people who barrel by me on those scooters. I I just really realized that I've started this thing that when they barrel by me, I grab my leg, the one that has been injured and has the titanium rod in it. So I don't understand how folks are out here being stupid and careless on scooters.
I totally agree. And let me just take a moment to remind everyone to like, to share, to comment. Um, if it's Twitter, then it's a retweet, or a quote. To comment, share, a like. Um, on our, we also have a call. You can call 202-670-9110 if you want to call in. I also saw one of my dearly, dearly beloved, LaJoy. Hello, LaJoy. How are you? Make sure if you're in Ward 8 that you go out and support my girl, LaJoy. She's running for State Board of Education. Vote for LaJoy. She definitely has my public support and endorsement. Um, moving
Can
right
I,
along.
can I chime in one
Yeah,
second? Thank you, Teresa. It's Teresa. I ain't got my glasses on. Where my glasses at? Let me see. Is that Tyrena Simpson? Thank you very much. Yes, it is a blessing to survive that. Thank you. Sorry, Mike.
did I miss a comment? Oh,
Ty-
I did miss a comment. I did. I see it now. No, I see it. It came in late. That's my cousin. Hi, cousin. I definitely thank everyone for your continued support. It definitely means a lot. So, my homie Patrice Lancaster, who is over there in Ward 8 also, and she is running for commissioner. So definitely want
Miss
to, if
Lancaster,
you
let's
don't know
do this
about
thing.
Miss Lancaster, you definitely want to learn more. We definitely actually have plans for her to join us here on the People's Voice. So you can, so Ward 8 can learn more about her. Most people already know she is the resource lady of DC. So thank you for your support. Thank you for joining on. Uh, real quickly, I just wanted us to take a moment and just shout out a beautiful, beautiful young lady. Shout
Yes,
out.
come on, come on. I'm sorry. Let me mute myself.
You don't have to mute yourself, but we definitely want to shout out Simone Biles, who becomes the most decorated Olympic gymnast in American history. What do you guys think about the Olympics so far?
Oh, I've been enjoying it, man. I think my neighbor's about tired of me going, USA, USA. I'm very,
I got
I'm
mixed
very
feelings about it.
proud. Y'all know we got some Olympians that represent the DMV. Katie Ledecky is from Bethesda, Maryland. And then we have Noah Lyles, who won the gold in the 100 and the 200-meter men's race. He is from Alexandria, Virginia. We have Tori Husk, who won she got the gold for the team race. She is also from Alexandria, Virginia. Come on, DC, Maryland, Virginia. Let's do it, baby. Yes.
Yeah, yes. I forgot my brother. My brother Thomas Donahue is also running for commissioner over there in the Great Ward 8. So definitely, we'll have to get you on the show too, Thomas. That same day we have a couple of people running for commissioner in Ward 8, and there are. By the way, let me just say this: there are so many vacancies in our city. Check out your ANC, check out your SMD, single member district, and see who your commissioner is. See if you have a commission. If you don't, please consider running for commission. If you want to know more about what the job entails, if you want to know more about how do you get involved, how do you get started, please hit me up, hit us up. That's what the Rising Voices of Politics is all about. That's what we're here for. Let us know, and we will be here to help you. but do not allow your SMB to continue to go unrepresented. All you're doing is allowing your voice, your thoughts, your concerns, what's important to you, not be heard. Your voice, your vote, it matters.
It does.
Make sure that you have representation at every single level of our government. It's not just the mayor, it's not just the city council, but you need your commissioner. A good commissioner makes a huge difference.
I agree with that. And even if y'all have somebody in the seat and you're not completely satisfied with the work that they've done and the promises that they've made that they have not kept, step on out there. Go ahead and be like Kevin Hart. Say it with your chest. Go on and step out there and be one of those people who makes a change in DC.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Be the change. Be
Lord
the
knows we need some change up in here because
and
DC is
speaking
rotting like a
of
egg.
change, speaking of change, boy, has a lot happened since our last show. Not only has Biden stepped down, not only has Harris announced she'll be running for president, not only has Harris secured enough delegates to represent us on our ticket as a Democratic Party, Harris this week has also announced her running mate to be Governor Walz. And oh my goodness, what a speech he gave last night. If you don't know the guy, if you've never heard of the guy, all you had to do was listen to that guy's speech last night, and you just have to have a good feeling. Did you guys hear the speech?
I heard a couple of clips.
I did
Hmm.
not. I did not. I was not aware that he was going to give a speech. I was tuned into the Olympics.
Yes, he definitely called out um, Mr. JD Vance. Um, I can't wait to see them two debate. I can't wait to see Harris and Trump debate. It's just gonna be awesome. It's just gonna be. I can't wait the next 90 days now. I believe it's just it's gonna be out of this world.
Yeah, to me, it's just normalizing genocide. I hate to be so blunt and frank about it, but I mean, it's almost like there's not, hundreds of thousands of people being murdered by bombs paid for by taxpayer dollars being dropped on kids and moms right now. I don't really hear any of that in these speeches, and I don't hear enough about how people are living on the streets because the affordable housing ain't affordable in this country. And yeah, it's the same old. It just seems like personality politics to me. And yeah, anything is better than a criminal and sexual predator,
Well,
aka
I will say what stuck out to me last night in the Vice President Harris's speech is, and I've been watching all of it. It's pretty much repetitive. She has the same catchy lines. Um, but usually she say affordable, 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 but she had not said affordable housing. Yesterday in the great state of Pennsylvania, she actually said affordable housing. Um, so
But
but
the
what does that
question,
mean,
I
Reverend?
the
did find that
question,
encouraging.
but the question becomes affordable for whom, though?
Right.
because I said that so many times when this Bowser administration first took office and she started, oh, we're going to build more affordable housing. We're going to build. No, they're building luxury housing and marketing it as affordable to the people with six-figure incomes or more. You know, there are working families in the district that don't make $20,000-$30,000 a year. Look at matter of fact, let's take for instance the IHOP over here on 14th Street in that plaza over there. You have servers and cooks and hostesses, cashiers that work in there that don't they have to work a second job just to be able to make rent. Like literally their whole paycheck for that month plus a portion of the paycheck from the second job is going to pay the rent. When
Well, I caution us not to think that the nation has the same unique situation
everybody
as
has a
DC.
unique situation. I'm
Well,
just saying,
what I'm saying
I
is this.
know, I'm speaking on experience from somebody I know that worked over there who had to take on a second job just to be able to make the rent. And then
Well,
there's this stigma around people with vouchers. You know, people want to chastise and degrade
what I'm
and
saying is
demean.
Kamala Harris is running to be president of our country. She's not running to be mayor of
No, I
DC.
mean, all of these administrations work together, and at some point, it gets to the president, and the president can either veto it or not. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying
Well,
politics is it's a fickle thing. It's really tricky and
But
fickle.
hear what I'm saying about in response to what Chris was saying about affordable, in particular, affordable housing. And what I'm saying is in DC, we have a unique a problem where our median income is being included with Virginia and Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have North Carolina or Wyoming or South Dakota. They don't have a problem with their income and everything being factored with many with surrounding states that just makes their income projection look totally higher than what it is. And so when we talk about affordable housing as a nation, I don't think that it's the same situation that we have here in DC. We're kind of messed up here in DC with that, but I don't think every other place in the nation
We're
has that
messed up
issue.
now because they done gentrified the city. But there were rent caps here. There was deeply affordable housing where people were paying at one point 10% of their income, and then it increased to 30%. And
And Kamala
now,
Harris has proposed rent caps.
huh?
Kamala Harris has proposed rent caps.
yeah. So here's the thing. So okay, so the president picks who runs housing and urban development at HUD, which is federal. HUD sets
Yes.
these, and so that was Marcia Fudge recently, and I think she just left. And Marcia Fudge, under Biden picked Marcia Fudge. She came out and she said she might as well have been Mayor Bowser. She said exactly everything Mayor Bowser says. We need to privatize the public housing. Privatize, meaning give it to private interests because somehow they know how to do things better. And which is untrue. It's just that there's just been no accountability of the people taking care of our buildings, public buildings. They've just let it slide. They've divested. They've not taken pride in it like they used to, 60s, 70s. There was a lot of disinvestment in the 80s through the 90s. And then that disinvestment led to this new neoliberal, AKA Democratic and Republican position that we need to just privatize everything. And so Marcia Fudge was claiming that, we need to privatize the public housing. So that's going to be the same under Kamala Harris. It will be a similar policy transition of the private interests know better than the public, and so they should run our stuff and take our stuff from us, and hopefully it all works out. Now, we've seen how that's worked out for the private interests serving the lowest of the low. And when I'm talking about low income, I'm talking about your minimum wage workers who are making $35,000 or less.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Or 35,000 in DC. It's $17.50 an hour. It's 35,000 a year. So that's like that person who works at the IHOP and or at the movie theater, or is the barista, or is on that moped slinging food or whatever. Right? It's these folks are completely out of the Democratic policy equation of who is to be served by affordable housing.
But you don't think Kamala is more influenced by the left than Biden is, and will have more left policies?
No, because it's very easy to persuade the sheeple by using language. Like you just now, you said, Kamala Harris, I was so impressed. She said the word affordable housing. That is a magic word, Reverend, right? I mean, we hear Bowser saying it all the time. It's like, it's a complete guise to just build more and more luxury housing. And, this trickle down paradigm where we give up our land, we give up air rights, zoning rights, so that some developer could build a bunch of luxury units, Class A studio, 1 bedrooms, and maybe we get a handful of so-called affordable housing for people making $65,000 a year. That's the paradigm right now. It's all been guised under we're building affordable housing. So how does the everyday person, unless they look at the results, the policies, stay involved in the civics of this all thing, when they're working 2 jobs or they have kids, nobody's doing more than hearing, oh, they're building affordable housing? Awesome. That's so great. I love that. And that's the extent of our political mind right now in terms of the zeitgeist, in terms of the people. They won't peel back the layers. It's not easy to peel back the layers.
I mean, I'm looking at a party right now who it was said it was only going to be far left that would support reforming the Supreme Courts. Well, today, the president and the party as a whole supports reforming our Supreme Court. And I just feel like, and I'm a little younger, but I just feel like over the years, our party has gotten more and more left. And some of these things that we thought we wouldn't get to, we have been getting to. And I think that not only has the party gotten more left, but it's a direct result of, and I'm gonna say, I'm so sad to see Cori Bush lose her. I mean, Cori Bush lose the primary. But I just think that the left wing of our party has a lot more influence today than it's ever had, and has a lot more power than it's ever had. And I think that we can get some things done.
Can I ask something here? How does a party, I mean, Mike, when you say this party's going further and further left, when I think of, I mean, Cori Bush, Jabal Bowman, these are like your left leading political Democratic operative candidates, AOC, you know, all that. They are a fringe of this party, and in fact are now losing because APAC and these lobby groups, Israeli American uh, lobby groups, are putting so much money into attacking these folks that you're saying are left, because they're saying please stop dropping bombs on moms and kids in Palestine. You know, they are being pushed out of the party. So I see a party that's actually shifting further and further right. And you know, when I think of Kamala Harris, you know, in 2020, and I'm just getting this info.
Who by the way was the first vice president to ever boycott another president coming and addressing Congress because she is opposed to war and she has made it known that she's opposed to war.
No, she met with him afterwards. She just couldn't get there that night. She met with him the next day. But you know, in 2020, during her primary run, just before she dropped out, she had collected funds from 46 billionaires, the most of any Democrat in the race. This
Very
is
true.
this is a person who cozies up very nicely with billionaires, and these are the billionaires who are the, you know, the heads of these sort of corporate um, cabals that are basically, you know, the major power players, industries, cryptocurrency, AI, big oil, Wall Street, Hollywood. They don't. She doesn't want to be seen as a threat to any of those interests, and she'll play that line very coolly with language. And if one of those words is affordable housing, and all those people in the industry know, oh, I know what affordable means. I know who we're helping, and then all the other people go, oh, affordable housing. The sheeple, you know, understand affordable housing like what we understand, what we think affordable housing should mean. It's a great play because you get you know who everybody knows who's they're talking to. The voters will vote for that. The big industry peeps, the donors, the developer, real estate investor class know what that means too. And so that's the thing. Like, I don't think this party's moving left at all. I think it's, if anything, it's quite right. It's quite much in the hands of the war machine, and Kamala as a woman, as a brown woman, you know, she's gonna be the head of this war machine that's killing mostly black and brown folks around the world. And to me, that is kind of bizarre and frightening. But you know, maybe things will change. I don't know, but I don't see it. So I don't know how much change is going to happen. But especially if you're funded by these interests.
I don't see us. I might be wrong, but I guess we can only find out over time. But I don't see us supporting Israel in the same manner. Don't I don't agree with what they're doing. I don't support what they're doing. They are our ally. I come from a different upbringing, a different background where I have friends who chose wrong paths and who did the wrong thing, but I'm there for them and I got their back. It's just hard to explain. An ally is an ally. Um, but I don't see Kamala supporting Israel and what and their ways, should I say, in the same manner that I see Biden. I think that Kamala will get either a little stiffer and mean what she says, or I just feel like she won't support him to the same strength. I'm not saying that we're going to, completely abandon. They are our allies. We do have treaty, agreements with them, and those things are important and do need to stay in place, for the security and for the benefit of our country. But we do need to draw the line, and we do need to make it known that when we say something,
But let me ask you real quick when you say that, Mike, is it What would you have said to Botha then in South Africa when he jailed Mandela in that apartheid state? Would you have said, "Oh well, Botha is an ally, and that's just how it rolls, and we need them in South Africa so we can control American interests in Africa"? Would you be saying the same thing? Because that's essentially what Israel is. Israel is an apartheid state in Palestine, and they're controlling. I mean, they have a very wide influence in basically the Middle Eastern part of the world, and basically is a proxy state for the U.S. to influence what's happening in the Middle East. So why is it okay in Israel, but obviously, Mandela became an international hero, won all sorts of prizes when he freed the South African people from the apartheid state of Botha and all of,
Yeah, I didn't say it was okay. What I said is I understand they're not. I'm not saying that I would have made the same decisions, or anything like that. What I'm saying is, if you are president or voted president today on Israel, it's just not that simple. As one of the colleagues said, it's just not that simple. It's just not realistic. They are an ally. We have some interests and security interests as well. And we just can't say, you know what, well, we don't support what you're doing. We don't want a relationship with you. We don't want anything to do with you. That's just not realistic. And as a president or as a leader, you have to understand that.
and I'll end on this, but question back: why do Israeli citizens have more libraries per person, have complete health care, free school, uh, obviously an amazing transportation system to ship all those bombs around and whatnot? How do they have all of this without U.S. help? But people in the states, right here in our own backyard, and in the whole city, why don't we have health care? Why don't we have housing? Why isn't there a library? Why is there only one library in Ward One? Uh, you know, um, why are they shutting down and privatizing schools to become condos in Ward 7 and 8? Like, why is there this disparity where Israel and Israeli citizens get our money to live a great life and uphold this apartheid state where Palestinians are second class citizens in that same land where they were for thousands of years as well? Suddenly now the US money goes, taxpayer money, your money goes to Israel and funds all of these things that we don't even get to have here. We don't get to have free healthcare and free schooling and housing. It's certainly not easy to get any of that. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm saying it's guaranteed in Israel, for the people there. And it's only guaranteed because of US tax money. So it's a little bit different than just an ally and they just exist on their own. And where they're
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that I agree. I mean, I agree with every point you just said. It's 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 not right. There is disparity. Some things are not right. All I'm simply saying is when it comes to Kamala, Biden stepped down. She's next in, she feels like she's next in line, or she's deserving and able to do the job of a president. And all I'm saying simply is, when you become president on day one, realistically, you can't just say, "Hey, look, this is unfair. This is not right." Blah, 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 blah. We're not helping Israel. We're turning our backs on Israel. That's just not realistic. You cannot do that.
maybe we just start with, hey, can you just stop killing kids? And then we'll keep funding you for your libraries.
I totally. I mean, yeah, yeah. Like I said, I believe Kamala will draw some harder lines and be more stiff when it comes to certain things. Especially when it comes to innocent children and women dying in this war. And when it comes to blatant attacks, that's just everyone, even the American people, can see. Hey, look, you knew those were innocent lives there, and you still chose to release that missile or drop that bomb. So I do think that Kamala will be more stiff and more of a hardliner than Biden. I mean, I think that we even see just a few days of her campaign that Biden has had this kind of Obama, and not to shame it, but this when they go high low, we stay high approach. Where we see Kamala and even her new running mate are willing to take a jab, are willing to show, listen, this is who they really are. So I do see kind of a difference in attitude.
One of the other things, we were talking about language. One of the other pieces of language that I noticed being used in this particular case with Israel, Palestine, and the U.S. is that the idea of calling it a war, right? I think it's a war crime. I don't know if it's a war. I mean, when you have people who have been basically walled in for 70 years into an area, and the food's electric, all of that is up to Israel, and they cut it off and they keep things sort of just right on the edge for all this time. There have always been responses to that type of oppression, whether you're in Ireland with the IRA to Britain, when they started bombing stuff in Dublin and in Northern Ireland, and you had the same thing happening. When people are repressed, they're gonna like sort of act out. They're gonna say enough, and I think that's what we saw with Hamas on October 7th. But to just say that's like that has started some war, when I see the disproportionate, I mean, when you have people throwing rocks versus people rolling in with tanks and bombs and all of that, and people in tents, being obliterated, kids. And I mean, it's to me, it's just like, I don't think it's a war. I don't think it's fair to call it a war. I think it's fair to call it a war crime. I don't think it's fair to call it. It's not like Palestine has an army. You know what I'm saying? They have kids with rocks and slingshots. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Like, I think that's another kind of language rub, like affordable housing. It's
Well,
like, oh,
I definitely think it's a war crime. Well, here's the thing. I think that, and I'm trying to be careful because I don't want to come off as anti-Semitic because I'm not. Um, but I definitely, I think that the history in the, I believe in a religious involvement with this. That's not being talked about. Um, I believe that there are a lot of factors that's not being talked about when it comes um, to this subject as a whole, and that we could really spend hours digging into it. Um, but at the end of the day, I think that there has to be some form of willingness from both sides uh, to have peace. Um, no matter how wrong you think you are, uh, I don't think I think that history already proves when it comes to us, particularly as a brown people, that the most progress came when we chose non-violence. Um, and I think that you have to come to a place of peace and compromise um, for a better living environment for all. And I don't think at this point that Israel is all the way there, and I don't think at this point that the Palestinians are all the way there. And I'm not saying that either side has a reason not to be or to be. I'm just saying that they're not all the way there. And my prayer is that one of these days there will be peace in that land. Until then, I think that we do need um, to make sure that our interests are protected, and we do need to make sure that innocent lives um, are not being lost. But we can't be hypocrites doing this, and we go in and we went and bombed and killed innocent lives in Iraq and killed innocent lives in Afghanistan, and then all of a sudden we want to police this war or this war crime. I just don't think that's right either.
Well, I tell you what, I don't mean to change the subject, but I know what is a crime is that our 911 system is broken.
And I'm
People,
glad you said that because this is what I wanted to play next. So hold your thought. And this is exactly what I wanted to get into really quickly.
What's known as the Office of Unified Communications. They say that 911 calls were being answered during this time. One came from an apartment here in this building, and you can hear the frustration in the voices of the first responders.
We have an infant in cardiac arrest. I've made everyone aware of this multiple times here on this channel. Do we have a Engine 28 Communications? Do we have a ALS unit or a paramedic that is possibly available?
A few hours later, D.C. police detectives and forensic investigators arrived at 3000 Connecticut Avenue Northwest after being informed that the infant, described as being about 4 or 5 months old, had been pronounced dead. D.C. police described this as a death investigation. News 4 spoke with Dave Statter, a veteran journalist with extensive expertise in fire and EMS agencies.
By my count, this is the 5th time since May 23rd that their computer system went down. One of those was the global CrowdStrike failure that impacted a lot of 911 centers and other agencies. But the 4 other times, they've never given an explanation.
The district's Office of Unified Communications says calls to 911 were still being answered during the computer dispatching system outage. They did not specify how long it lasted or the time frame. The 911 call for the infant in cardiac arrest at 3000 Connecticut Avenue was made at 2:23, according to D.C. police. 2 minutes later, 2:25 p.m., this tweet from the OUC announcing technical difficulties with the computer-aided dispatching system.
If you remember and recall, because of their staffing shortages, we're already in a situation when people call 911, they don't get a prompt answer. And now you get delays. And it's pretty sad in some of the things that have happened. People wait for service, and there was one today.
Now, it's very important to state that there's no indication at this time that any possible delays contributed to the baby's death. There are still many, many unanswered questions. Live in Northwest, Jackie Benson, News 4.
Thank you so much, Jackie.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you, Jackie. And thank you, CBS News for your amazing coverage and for that clip. Here's a no thank you. No thank you to the Office of Unified Communications, who is responsible. I'm just gonna hold it right there. I'm gonna hold it right there. Because let me just say this. Tonight on this show, we're supposed to have a guest. The guest that we were supposed to have ran for council. Villarreal VJ Johnson. And when I brought attention to the failures of OUC and our 911 system, I made a post on social media. His response was, "This is an ignorant and empathetic host. He said it's one of the hardest, and and I quote, answering that call is one of the hardest things I've seen a person do. And to do it all day, every day as a career, those who work there deserve more. I don't understand what the hell you're talking about, but let me say this. This is not an aim at the employees of OUC. This is an aim at the system and at the leadership and at whatever the heck they're doing in that department. I understand that there are 911 dispatchers who come to work and who are doing their absolute best. I also understand that systems keep getting down. I also understand that the department is underemployed. It has been underemployed for months, if not years. I also understand that the leadership is downright terrible. I understand that the training is insufficient. Those things can be called out. And if you feel they can't, then I am so glad you do not represent me. Oh.
I've been traumatized by the 911 dispatch call center. Mike, you know I told you about that earlier. And
Yes.
Chris knew years ago what happened to my neighbor, my friend. So I'm going to tell the story, but I'm going to keep it short. So April 11th, 2021, I was on the phone with my friend Sherry. I get another call from one of our other neighbors to alert me that EMS was trying to get in my building. And so I cut that call short to get back to Sherry. And I go out on the balcony and I look down, and there are 8 paramedics standing there trying to jimmy the lock to get in my building. And I asked them, I said, may I help you? And they look up at me. Yeah, we get a call for a 56-year-old lady having a stroke. I said, first of all, that's not me. I said it just like that. That's not me. I said, that I don't fit that age. I'm not that age. Second of all, if I was having medical problems, I wouldn't be able to speak to you right now. You know, there is a thing that medics do called FAST, FAST. When a person is having a stroke, F, check their face. If their face starts to like droop on one side, then it's likely that they're having a stroke. Some people have even pursed their lips really hard too. Check the face. Then A is the arm. Most of the time when people are having a stroke, they can't lift their arms above their head or even out to grab something from you. So check the face, the arm, FA. Then you have S, which is the speech. If they cannot relay, like you ask them a question and then the speech is impaired because they're having a stroke. And then T, if they don't pass FAS, then T, it is time to call 911. It is time to get the medics and get them to the hospital immediately. And I'm standing there. I'm like, y'all didn't even do fast on me. I said that to them. Y'all didn't even do fast on me. But it's obvious I'm not the person you're looking for. I need you to go over to 618 apartment 21. They did not listen to me. They didn't listen to me. There were 2 ambulances, 1 fire truck that responded. They got back in their respective vehicles and they all left and came back the very next day. And my neighbor had a stroke and she died from a massive stroke. And I watched them wheel her out of that building on a gurney in the body bag. And that could have been prevented had they listened to me and go over there. But it's sad to say that this system is really broken. We've had shootings at Park Morton. Neighbors, not just myself, neighbors have called 911. Took them 45 minutes just to come from Park Road over there to see what was happening. So there is a lot that can be said about the 911 system. There's a lot that can be said about the management that is responsible for taking care of residents, because we had another incident where a senior passed away. And I won't get into the graphic details like I told you, Mike, but this senior had passed away and she lived right across the hall from the rental office. And by the time someone decided ultimately to call 911, it was way too late for her. And the coroner came and told us how long she had been in there based on the lividity of her body. So there's something wrong with this system. It is ultimately broken, and they don't rescue the people that actually need rescuing. They're going to the wrong addresses. People are dying because of it. And I even had a situation where my house got shot up, and back in February of this year, somebody tried to steal my car. And I called 911. The police officer come. These are the cards for every incident that has happened at this house. 1, shooting at a house. And these 2 are from the one officer that came out about my car being vandalized. And lucky for me, I drive a stick, so they wasn't able to take my junk. It was his own anti-theft device. Thank you, Jesus. But you know, this officer, he was very unpleasant to work with. He literally told me, and I quote verbatim, "Unless you sustain $1,000 or more of damage and theft to your vehicle, there's nothing we can do." End quote.
I'm gonna read a comment that someone made concerning the OUC. And this is from a guy in Ward 7 named David Bell. He said, "I really wouldn't put it on the trench employees. The culture of the agency, management, the poor training, and the hiring practices are to blame. This culture is obviously encouraged and protected by the mayor. Sadly, no different from other agencies in this administration." We have to do something, and it's clear as day that our mayor won't. Either we're going to have to apply some pressure as a people, come together and demand change, or we have to start making a statement and bringing about change beginning at the polls. This upcoming election is our presidential election. In 2 years is our next mayoral election. And I pray that we have a much higher participation than what we've been having. Hopefully, some of our people are sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired of this city's leadership. We need a new mayor. You folks didn't show up at the polls for my brother Chris. You didn't show up at the polls for any of us. But I pray
I did.
that DC shows up like never before this next mayoral election.
We
We
need
need
new leadership
new
all around.
leadership.
We need new leadership. It's time that a lot of those council people that have been sitting there for decades upon decades to be voted out and let some new leadership come in and start steering the ship. But one thing about it, though, I always encourage people to think like this. I like to use a lot of analogies and euphemisms to get people to understand where I'm coming from. So, although we need new leadership, we got to make sure everybody is on board and not drilling holes in the ship, if you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
So we need everybody doing their part to row the boat, put up sails, man the helms and the starboard and the bow and everything like that. And so that's what we need to do. We about to get into the territories.
Definitely need to fix our 911 call, and this and things like this is the reason why we need to be prepared for emergency situations, such as these storms, which might be touching down tonight. This is a map of how our precipitation is supposed to be looking over the next 30 minutes. This is how it's supposed to look. This is the country. I mean, should I say the East Coast? We got to be ready. And our 911 system needs to be up and running for situations just like this.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be prepared.
Yes,
I'm not playing with Chris.
Yes, we do. And Q, Miss High. Hello. I am your emergency preparedness reviewer, and I am going to teach you how to get ready for these storms. So my business is named High Alert Emergency Preparedness. You can find me on Google. I am an LLC. My acronym is HAER PREP. And that's also my website, haerprep.com. Go see me. Go see all of my numerous certifications. I think I'm over 60 now. But I say this all the time when I start my webinars or my seminars, depending on the community I'm serving. I ask people, where were you and what were you doing when 9/11 happened? And were you prepared for it? And many of the people have the same exact answer. No, I wasn't prepared. We were stuck so and so and so, and we didn't have any food, we didn't have any water, we didn't have blah da 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 da. And they're looking at me, and I'm sitting there smiling like, oh, what a shame. That was a shame. But inside, I'm happy because this is my opportunity to teach you how to do that. So please contact my business. Learn how and what you need to get ready for these storms, because DC floods more often than not. And if you're a homeowner and your house gets flooded, what are you to do? What is your exit? What is your exit plan? If you don't own a car or any kind of transportation to get out, what's your strategy? You have to know these things, or else you're going to be, let's go back to 2005 when Hurricane Katrina hit Louisiana. A lot of the folks, they're so used to the hurricanes, they just, it'll blow over, but then it didn't. And things got much worse. And then people were stranded on their rooftops, waiting for people to come and save them. Up there for a week, no clean water, no food, no kind of umbrella or shelter to keep the sun from beating down on their heads. So these are all the things you think about when it comes to natural disasters, technological disasters. What are you going to do if your computer goes down, if we get hit with an EMP and all the electronics stop? What are you going to do? How are you going to survive? Then you have to look at the intentional disasters. Those are man-made disasters like January 6th, the insurrection that happened on our Capitol. That could have easily spilled out into the streets of Northwest. Part of it spilled over into Southeast. I was told by people who live on that side that some of them were down there. What are you going to do if they come to your house? Are you prepared? Are you prepared to protect your home and your family?
Folks, please like, share, subscribe, and send stars. You're getting valuable information. This is not the only resources you'll have. We'll have resources for you throughout the show on our podcast. But make sure you like, make sure you share, make sure you send us some stars, um, and make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. The People's Voice DC. Before we leave, I just want to bring awareness to one quick thing, and this happened in Ward 1. Um, I was over at this particular location. It's on 11th Street in Northwest, and when I visited, they were very nasty, very mean, very rude, which I found odd, being as though I looked around and I saw all kinds of mice running around and big giant water bugs crawling on the wall. So once I saw those things, I kindly just said, never mind, I'm not eating here. But I was sure to take pictures and to note the treatment that I got.
Oh
As a
man,
result,
don't. Oh,
the
Oh,
inspector,
that's on there? That's on them?
the inspector
Oh,
came out. Um, we saw the same thing together, and right there on the spot, that establishment was closed until
Oh,
further notice. I believe, and I want people to see my face. I believe in small business. I believe in minority owned business. But do not come to my city and treat us any kind of way. We deserve for you to be clean. We deserve for our food to be clean. And we deserve to be treated like human beings. We're not beneath you. We don't owe you anything. As a matter of fact, we are your customers. You owe us, and you are serving us. People, if you see something, as my great friend Trayon White says, do something. Take pictures, report it, call your inspectors, and get these establishments clean. We deserve better in our city. There's no reason why one part of our city, there's a life expectancy plus 20 years, but another part of our city, the life expectancy isn't. We want equal treatment everywhere, and we won't settle for less. Before I close, anyone else need anything to say?
Will you come to 18th Street in Adams Morgan?
I'm telling you, honeymoon chicken needs an inspection too.
No, don't say honeymoon chicken. I keep looking at that. Y'all know how I feel about chicken. And every time I ride past there, I say, I got to try that
big as my forearm. Yes. And it's on video on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook.
Hey, some people are eating over here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Follow High Alert Emergency Preparedness on Facebook at facebook.com/High Alert Prep. Looking forward to serving y'all in the community. Oh, just to pinpoint, I also do DC Notary. I am a mobile DC Notary, and I especially serve my disabled and my seniors. I'm a wedding officiant. So if you planning on getting married, even if it's in the kitchen, baby, come on, call me. I can hook you up. And I am also an EOL, which stands for End of Life Care Doula. So if you have your nana or papa who is nearing that transition, give me a call. I will be there to support you and your family during your bereavement time. So yes, I offer a multitude of services, and I hope to serve you soon.
Listen, right now, there is the fight for America.
Prosecutor,
make sure that you get out and we rock this vote. We cannot allow the felon to win.
You gotta send me that picture, man. Yeah.
On that note, listen, we won't be back next week, but we'll see you in 2 weeks. And we're going to have a great show. We're going to have more than one guest. It's going to be lots of fun, lots of entertainment. We're planning for an in-person event. Stay tuned. Make sure you follow us on social media. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. And guess what? We're even on Spotify now. Subscribe to us on our
YouTube channel.
Send those stars.
Don't forget Twitch.
Like. Until next time, be blessed. This is the People's Voice, DC.
And there's no money.